From Neural Newscast, I'm Frederick Moore.
And I'm Hannah Whitmore. We begin with the escalating standoff between Washington and Tehran. Here is what you need to know.
United States Central Command confirmed Monday that Navy-guided missile destroyers are now operating within the Arabian Gulf after transiting the Strait of Hormuz. This marks the first phase of Project Freedom, a White House directive intended to facilitate the passage of commercial vessels currently stranded by regional hostilities. The mission directly challenges Tehran's efforts to control the waterway. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps has declared a maritime control zone over the entire strait, insisting all safe passage must be coordinated through their armed forces.
The situation turned kinetic almost immediately. Iranian forces claimed to have fired 2 missiles at a United States vessel near the strait, though CENTCOM reports no Navy ships were struck. However, the risk to commercial infrastructure is growing. The United Arab Emirates reports that Iran has resumed attacks on energy targets, specifically a petroleum site in Fujairah. While 3 missiles were intercepted, 1 landed in the sea nearby. President Trump has already rejected a ceasefire proposal from Tehran, calling the terms unacceptable while shipping lanes remain under threat.
While attention remains on the Gulf, a somber escalation is occurring inside Iran's borders. State media announced Monday that 3 men were executed by hanging in connection with anti-regime protests that peaked in early January. Rights groups, including Amnesty International, have condemned these as political executions, following trials that often lasted only a few hours. One of the men was 25, another was 21. They were reportedly executed at dawn on Sunday at the Vakilabad prison in Mashhad.
Since the conflict resumed in March, at least 24 political prisoners have been executed. Activists argue the timing is a deliberate attempt to use the cover of international conflict to suppress domestic dissent. Amnesty International has documented 13 cases where they say torture was used to extract information. There are growing calls for the international community to raise the political cost of these hangings. As human rights groups warn, the executions will likely continue without a stronger diplomatic response.
Military pressure is also mounting in Lebanon, where Israeli forces have intensified raids on Hezbollah sites. Lebanese officials report 20 people were killed and dozens wounded in the last 24 hours. Looking toward long-term air superiority, the Israeli government has approved a massive purchase of 100 F-35s and 50 F-15s. This expansion comes as the domestic defense industry remains strained, with officials noting that Iran is currently manufacturing missiles at a faster rate.
To meet that manufacturing demand, ultra-Orthodox workers are now being integrated into Israel's missile production lines. And it is not just Israel seeking more hardware. Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE have collectively submitted an emergency request to the United States for $8.6 billion in arms. The regional sense of urgency is palpable, suggesting that despite diplomatic rhetoric, major players are preparing for a sustained period of high-intensity conflict.
From Neural Newscast, I'm Frederick Moore.
And I'm Hannah Whitmore.
Thank you for listening. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.